Okay, so what is this CA glue hold down trick? All right, well, you don't want to use CA glue directly to your bed. And whether you have a CNC or not, this little trick works for a lot of little parts if you're having to hold them down. So if you're cutting on a bandsaw, scroll saw, this trick works in place of double-sided tape. So what happens is, take your part, obviously, flip that over, and I'm going to cut a piece of tape just a little larger. This would be a little larger than your actual part. If you're dealing with small parts, it's real easy. On this big piece, I'm just going to put a piece of tape around the border and in a strip in the middle. So I'm getting the tape on the back, getting it all leveled out and flattened out, which is key. You don't want any bubbles in that. Here I am laying out the tape on the bed of the machine. It's pretty important that you get the tape laid out pretty close to the way you've got it on your workpiece. You certainly don't want it off and then you glue your workpiece to your table. Now this little tip works equally well if you're trying to tape and glue multiple parts together. Say you're trying to match a template. This works really well for that application as well. Alright, so there's our tape. Everything's flat, everything's good to go. Now here's the cool part. So we've got tape on the back of our workpiece. We've got tape on the work table. So now all we need to do is apply glue. And again, this is a pretty big piece. I'm not making any aggressive cuts, so I don't need a ton of glue on here. So we'll glue one surface, and then we'll use the accelerator on the other. It doesn't take much, just a couple of drops. So I put drops in the corners and a couple along the sides. And of course, I put a little line in the middle. I think a drop would have been fine, but it works. Then spray your accelerator on your bed and then hold it down. Now, part's not going to go anywhere, and they're good. So let's get to making some cuts and see what happens. Alright, so see, now that our piece is cut and everything's good to go, it did not move at all, which was fantastic. So what we need to do is figure out a way to get under it slightly to get it started. And then all we're doing is we're prying up that bottom layer of tape. And once we get that up and running, peels right up, no problems. And there we go. So we're left with a smooth surface, and the tape on the back will then peel off the back of your workpiece. And so your workpiece isn't damaged, and you're left with a nice clean result, other than where I boo-booed and went all the way through the workpiece with the bit. So anyway, finished result looks good. So if you got to do a little small parts or even larger parts and your clamps won't work on the piece due to the tool paths you're going to use, definitely look at the tape method. It works really good using double-sided tape, or in this case we use the CA method using normal masking tape and then the CA between the two pieces of tape. So I think it worked well. Hopefully you like that, and it'll be something you could use for several of your projects. Definitely easier than fiddling with the double-sided tape and having that thin layer you're having to peel off both sides. I liked it, worked good, and it allowed for a piece that was not quite perfectly flat, as you can see there. That held it down well. So, all right, CA glue tip, Christcross Crafts, out.